All right, in this explainer, we're going to tackle one of the most transformative and, let's be honest, often confusing technologies out there, cryptocurrency. We're going to start from the very beginning, building from the ground up, so you can see past all the hype and really grasp the core ideas that are changing our world.
Okay, so let's start with this question right here, because you can't really get crypto until you understand the problem it was born to solve. And that problem, well, it's rooted in the very nature of money itself.
So before we even get to the digital stuff, we need to take a quick trip back in time. We need to look at the story of money, because it's a story about human trust, and it perfectly sets the stage for why something like Bitcoin ever needed to exist in the first place.
You know, the way we think about money has never stood still. We started by just trading stuff directly, bartering. Then we moved to using things that were naturally rare, like gold. For a long time, our paper money was just a claim ticket for actual gold in a vault. But then, in 1971, something huge happened. Today, we're on what's called fiat money. And that's a fancy way of saying that a dollar has value, well, because the government says it does, and because we all agreed to believe in it.
So this whole modern system, it hinges on us trusting these big institutions. But as the 2008 financial crisis showed us, that trust can be fragile. Think about it. Central banks can just print more money, and suddenly the cash in your pocket is worth less. Banks and governments can literally block a transaction or freeze your account if they want to. And when our money became digital, we needed a central party, a bank, to solve a huge problem, making sure you couldn't just copy and paste a digital dollar and spend it twice.
So, you've got this backdrop of a fragile system. The stage is perfectly set. And then, right in the middle of the 2008 financial meltdown, a 9-page white paper quietly appears online, published by a totally anonymous person or group called Satoshi Nakamoto. And it proposed a wild solution.
And this one headline, it tells you everything you need to know about why Bitcoin was created. This exact text was embedded into the code of the very first block of Bitcoin ever mined. Now, sure, it was a timestamp, proving the network started on or after the state. But more than that, it was a mission statement, a digital protest flag planted right at the very beginning, calling out the failures of the traditional system.
And this right here, this was the big one, the technical puzzle that any digital money had to solve. Before Bitcoin, the only answer we had was a bank, a trusted middleman to keep the master record and make sure nobody was cheating. What Satoshi proposed was a way to solve this without a bank, without any central authority at all.
And the solution was, frankly, brilliant. It's built on these 3 revolutionary ideas. First, you make it scarce, just like gold. Only 21 million Bitcoin will ever exist, period. Second, you make every transaction permanent. Once it's recorded, it's there forever. It can't be changed or deleted. And third, the real masterstroke, you spread this transaction history across a global network of computers so no single person, company, or government can ever control it.
Okay, so how in the world does this actually work? How do you pull all that off? The magic ingredient, the engine that powers this whole thing, is the blockchain. It's how you create trust without needing to trust anyone in particular.
Okay, picture this. Instead of one bank holding a secret master ledger on their private server, imagine a record book that's public, and this book is copied and shared with thousands of computers all over the world. Every person running the software has an identical copy. That distribution is the secret sauce to its security. There's no single point of failure to attack.
And here's the really clever part. Transactions get bundled together into what's called a block. Then that block gets sealed with a unique digital fingerprint, a hash. And here's the kicker. Each new block also contains the hash of the block that came before it, creating a literal chain. So if you tried to go back and change something in an old block, even one tiny detail, it would break its hash, which would break the next block's hash, and so on. The whole chain would shatter, and everyone on the network would instantly know something's wrong and reject it.
Right, but for a new block to get added, everyone has to agree on it. So how do you do that without a boss? Bitcoin uses a method called proof of work, where miners spend massive amounts of computing power to solve a puzzle and secure the network. Newer systems, like Ethereum, now use proof of stake. Instead of burning energy, validators put their own money on the line. They lock up their crypto as collateral, and if they try to cheat the system, poof, they lose their stake. It's security based on having skin in the game.
So Bitcoin comes along and proves, hey, we can have digital money without a bank. It was a massive breakthrough. But then, in 2015, this new thing called Ethereum shows up and asks an even bigger question. What if a blockchain could be more than just a ledger for money? What if it could be a global computer?
And this is the absolute key difference you need to get. If Bitcoin is like digital gold, a secure, neutral place to store value, then Ethereum is like a world computer. It's a single, global, decentralized computer that anyone can use and anyone can build applications on top of. No permission required.
And the way it does this is with something called a smart contract. The vending machine analogy is perfect. You put in your dollar, you press B4, and the machine automatically gives you your snack. No cashier needed. A smart contract is just like that, but with code and value. If this condition is met, then that transaction automatically happens. The code is the law and it executes itself.
And let me tell you, this programmability was like opening the floodgates. Suddenly, you had this explosion of innovation. People started building entire financial systems without banks. That's DeFi. They created provably unique digital certificates of ownership for art and collectibles. Hello, NFTs. And they even built new kinds of organizations that run on code and community votes instead of a CEO and a boardroom.
Okay, so where is all this going? We've got sound money like Bitcoin, a trust machine with the blockchain, and this programmable world computer with Ethereum. What happens when you put all of these powerful building blocks together? Well, you get the blueprint for the next evolution of the internet, something people are calling Web 3.
Right now, we're living in the Web 2.0 era. A handful of giant companies basically run the show. They own the platforms, they own our data, and they make all the money from it. Web 3 wants to completely flip that script. The whole idea is to build an internet on top of decentralized networks where we, the users, own and control our own data and even get to own a piece of the platforms we use.
And this really is the core idea. It's a shift from an internet where we are the product to one where we are the owners. In this new world, your digital wallet isn't just for crypto. It's your digital identity. It's your login, your bank account, your key to this new internet. And you, and only you, are in control.
So when you strip it all away, the big promise here isn't just about fancy new tech or digital money. It's really about a fundamental choice we all have to make about the future of our digital lives. The next version of the internet is being built as we speak. So the real question is, will you just be a user or will you be an owner?